Every dish tells a tale of immigrants, of geography, of survival, and celebration. In this video, we'll uncover the official and most famous foods from every U.S. state and share a few surprises even Americans might not know. So grab your fork and let's taste the United States, one state at a time. Alabama pecan pie, a Southern classic. But did you know pecan comes from an Algonquin word meaning nut that requires a stone to crack? Alabama even celebrates it with a pecan festival every fall. Alaska wild salmon beyond beauty. Alaska's economy and identity swim with its salmon. Natives traditionally smoked it for preservation, a practice older than the U.S. itself. Arizona, chimichanga, a deep-fried burrito born by accident when a chef dropped one into oil. Chimichanga basically means thingamajig in Spanish slang. Arkansas, fried catfish, the catfish capital of the world. But few know Arkansas farmers pioneered commercial catfish farming in the 1950s. California, avocado toast beyond brunch culture. California grows 90% of U.S. avocados. The trend started in San Diego cafes in the 1990s. Not Australia, as many think. Colorado. Green chili. Colorado's official state dish is spicy green chili, born from Pueblo chilies that thrive in high altitude. Connecticut. New Haven pizza, Apizza. Locals call it beets. Thinner, crispier, and coal-fired. Even Frank Sinatra used to order it. Delaware, Scrapple, made from pork scraps and cornmeal. Early settlers' way of wasting nothing. Deliciously frugal. Florida, key lime pie. Florida's sunshine in dessert form, made from tiny key limes found only in the Florida Keys. Georgia, peach cobbler. The peach state's pride, but early settlers made it with canned peaches due to scarcity of fresh ones. Hawaii, poke meaning to slice in Hawaiian. This marinated fish dish predates sushi by centuries. Idaho, baked potato. Idaho's volcanic soil makes it a potato paradise. But its first potatoes were planted by missionaries in 1836. Illinois, deep dish pizza, invented in Chicago in 1943. Not by Italians, but by an American restaurant owner who wanted more filling per slice. Indiana sugar cream pie, nicknamed Hoosier pie, born during hard times when fresh fruit was scarce. Pure simplicity, sugar and cream. Iowa, corn on the cob. Iowa produces more corn than some continents. Locals add Parmesan or mayo, a nod to nearby Mexican influences. Kansas, BBQ Kansas City. BBQ is all about sweet, thick sauce, but it started in 1908 when a streetcar worker sold smoked meats in newspaper. Kentucky, fried chicken. Colonel Sanders opened his first roadside restaurant in Corbin, Kentucky. His secret recipe was originally handwritten on the back of a door. Louisiana, Gumbo, a melting pot dish. West African okra, French roux, and native spices, symbolizing Louisiana's Creole soul. Maine, lobster roll. Once poor man's food, lobsters were fed to prisoners in the 1800s. Now a luxury worldwide. Maryland, crab cakes. Blue crab defines the Chesapeake Bay. Locals mix it with mustard and Old Bay seasoning, invented right there in Baltimore. Massachusetts, clam chowder creamy, hearty, and tied to Boston's harbor history. But here's the surprise. Early chowders used ship biscuits instead of potatoes. Michigan, Coney Dog. Despite the name, it didn't come from Coney Island. It was Greek immigrants in Detroit who reinvented it with chili, onions, and mustard. Minnesota, Hotdish, the ultimate comfort casserole, born from church potlucks during the Great Depression. Mississippi, mud pie. Named for the muddy Mississippi River, it's a rich chocolate dessert. First seen in a small diner in the 1970s. Missouri toasted ravioli, invented by accident when a ravioli fell into hot oil in St. Louis's Italian neighborhood. Locals never look back. Montana Huckleberry Jam. The huckleberry can't be farmed. You have to forage it wild, making it Montana's rare treasure. Nebraska Runza, a bread pocket stuffed with beef and cabbage, inspired by German immigrants. There's even a fast food chain named after it. Nevada, shrimp cocktail before Vegas Buffy's. The Golden Gate Casino made shrimp cocktails famous. For just 50 cents in 1959. New Hampshire, apple cider donuts, New England autumn in a bite. Cider mills use leftover cider pulp to flavor them naturally. New Jersey, pork roll, Taylor ham. Locals fight over the name, pork roll versus Taylor ham. It's a breakfast essential, older than the Civil War. New Mexico, green chili stew. So iconic that New Mexico put red or green on its license plates, referring to chili sauce choices. New York, bagel with lox, brought by Jewish immigrants, perfected in NYC delis. And bagels were once boiled in honey water for gloss. North Carolina, pulled pork Eastern versus Western BBQ. One uses vinegar, the other tomato sauce. Locals argue like it's sports. North Dakota, lefse. A soft potato flatbread from Norwegian settlers, originally cooked on wood stoves. Ohio, Buckeyes chocolate-covered peanut butter balls named after the state tree's nut, created by an Ohio State football fan in the 1960s. Oklahoma, chicken fried steak. It's not chicken, it's steak. German settlers brought the idea from schnitzel. Oregon, Marionberry Pie. The Marionberry is Oregon-born, a hybrid created by OSU scientists in the 1950s. Pennsylvania, Philly cheesesteak, invented by a hot dog vendor in 1930, who swapped meat for steak just once and changed history. Rhode Island and clam cakes. They're like hush puppies filled with clams. And every local beach shack has a secret recipe. South Carolina, shrimp and grits. Once a fisherman's breakfast, now fine dining. Charleston chefs turned humble grits into gold. South Dakota, chisel it cubed fried meat, often venison or lamb, a nod to the state's German-Russian roots. Tennessee, Memphis BBQ dry rub is king here, not sauce. BBQ joints guard their spice recipes like family secrets. Texas, brisket barbecue wasn't Texan until German butchers in the 1800s started slow smoking the cheap cuts. Utah Jell-O. Utah eats the most Jell-O per capita in America. There's even a green Jell-O Olympic pin from 2002. Vermont. Maple syrup. 80% of America's maple syrup comes from Vermont, and it's still collected in buckets by hand on many farms. Virginia, ham. Smithfield ham is aged for a year, once traded by ship all the way to Europe. Washington, salmon chowder. Pacific salmon meets cream and herbs. Seattle's coastal comfort food. West Virginia, pepperoni roll. Invented for coal miners' lunches, a simple roll stuffed with pepperoni that stays fresh underground. Wisconsin, cheese curds. They squeak when fresh. Locals even deep fry them at fairs, a symbol of dairy devotion. Wyoming, bison burger. The American bison once nearly went extinct. Now it's a symbol of recovery and strength, served proudly in Wyoming diners. Which state's dish surprised you the most? Tell us in the comments below.